And I know Jed's just another guy.
But he's not. I just thought maybe we could go for a drink and just hang out.
You know that when Chris Harrison calls someone a train wreck, it's going to be an interesting season of The Bachelorette. But what is it about Hannah Brown that made the 15th season of the show so unforgettable? Of course, there are tons of rules Bachelorette contestants have to follow that cover everything from what they can read to how much luggage they're allowed to bring. But the one kind of baggage you definitely have to leave at home, your emotional baggage. But apparently contestant Jed Wyatt didn't get that memo because he signed up for the show knowing full well he was already in a relationship with someone else. Going on a break didn't work out so well for Ross and Rachel, but apparently Jed thought he would have better results when he left behind Haley Stevens. The two had been dating for 4 months when Jed announced he was going to do something to further his music career, and that something was appear on The Bachelorette. Even though Haley is a singer herself, for some reason she wasn't supportive of seeing her beau date someone else. The two had even gone on a tropical vacation a mere month before Jed jetted off to start filming. 4 months might not sound like a long time, but the pair had already exchanged I love yous with one another. Jed even said it to Haley over the phone once he got off the plane in Los Angeles. Ouch, that's gotta hurt for both Haley and Hannah. But there are two sides to every story, and Jed seemed confident he would be vindicated in the court of public opinion. He eventually admitted when he had no other choice that yes, he had a girlfriend waiting for him at home. However, he said he had fallen head over heels for Hannah when they met and was genuine when he said he had feelings for her. Well, in his slight defense, he did get away with this scheme longer than fellow contestant Scott Anderson, who got booted in the very first episode for having a girlfriend back home. But according to Haley, this incident was what made her realize the ramifications of what she and Jed were doing. She was forced to face the reality that Hannah is a living, breathing human with thoughts and feelings of her own. Haley felt terrible about Jed's attempt to manipulate her in order to further his own career. But despite her own guilty feelings, she says she came to admire Hannah for how she held her head high and dealt with the situation. While Haley was eager to come clean, Jed only did so begrudgingly. At first, he denied doing anything other than hanging out with his girlfriend Haley before finally admitting he may not have ended things properly.
I didn't have a girlfriend though, so to me, that didn't feel like it was a relationship.
This was certainly news to Haley, who said the couple had called each other boyfriend and girlfriend, and she had even met his family. According to Jed, he said I love you while he was under the influence, and the moment he did so, he knew he had made a huge mistake. But Haley countered by claiming he said it more than once and even provided affectionate text messages between her and Jed. He eventually admitted that while he had ended this relationship within his heart, he didn't end it verbally. That's some pretty impressive mental gymnastics there, Jed. But of course, he claimed his feelings for Hannah were totally different and he was ready to commit to her. So what's happened with Jed's relationship with Haley? According to her, she got totally ghosted, and he didn't even return the guitar case she had lent him. While she says she wouldn't mind hearing some remorse from her now ex, she doesn't believe she'll ever get it.
I read text messages that I sent that I'm like, this is embarrassing.
Jed and Haley did run into one another at a local music venue, and Haley called him out for leaving her hanging. He said he wasn't sure what to say, and Haley was left feeling like his backup plan in case things didn't work out with Hannah. And while poor Haley definitely got her heart broken, things didn't turn out perfectly for Hannah either. But was that really a surprise? Hannah made Bachelorette history by getting the job despite not being one of the top 4 from The Bachelor. She's known for speaking her mind and being honest about what she wants, sometimes to a fault.
I don't owe you anything.
A minute to share.
I don't owe you anything.
While Jed struggled with being honest, Hannah was firm in her convictions about life, love, and what she was looking for in a relationship. Oh, and one of those things was definitely not someone with a secret girlfriend. While Jed's betrayal came as a shock, it seemed like the other contestants could tell something was up with Luke Parker from a mile away. Mike Johnson called him a narcissistic, cantankerous misogynist, which, yikes, tell us how you really feel. Luke Stone called his behavior disturbing, and Connor Saley called him a liar and a manipulator. But even Hannah admitted she ignored all of the red flags until Luke said he would leave the show if she had been intimate with any other contestants. When Luke realized he'd made a mistake, he tried to say he could work through her slip-ups, and you can imagine how well that went over. Hannah gave him the boot, and he handled his exit from the show with dignity and grace. Just kidding, he interrupted Hannah, claimed she owed him to hear him out, and that went over even less well than his attempts to shame her. While Hannah may come across as confident, she admits to having some doubts when she arrived on the show. She claims she was insecure about being on the show and worried about disappointing the contestants. Hannah also claims she was worried about the sincerity of the contestants and feared some of them might be using her to promote themselves. Well, considering that pretty much happened with Jed, it seems like Hannah was right to be worried.
Yeah. Damn, that was sexy.
According to Hannah, Luke was the first person who made her feel confident he was there to get to know her. This made Hannah feel safe, and in hindsight, she realized it's what caused her to ignore all of those giant red flags waving in her face. Even though the other contestants and many of the viewers were over Luke at this point, his elimination was still considered controversial. There were even some fans who felt Hannah's actions on the show bordered on hypocritical. We all know what went on between Peter Weber and Hannah in that windmill and how she told Luke he had no right to judge her for that. But some fans compared her actions to Jed hooking up with Haley shortly before moving on to Hannah. But Hannah was open and honest about courting multiple men at the same time, considering that's kind of the whole point of the show. The men all knew what they were signing up for, but Hannah had no idea that the man she fell for was involved with anyone else. According to Hannah, she's received a massive backlash on social media from people intent on shaming her for her actions with the contestants on the show. But Hannah refuses to back down. She's always been honest about searching for a husband and says physical intimacy is an important part of a marriage. After all, you don't want to promise to spend forever with someone who isn't as passionate about windmills as you are. But how did Peter feel about Hannah spilling the details of their night together? According to Peter, he wasn't expecting her to be quite so honest about their encounters, and yes, that's encounters with an S. Although he claims his parents tease him about it, he understands why Hannah revealed what happened between them. Peter says he's confident about himself and that aspect of his life, and even called himself the anti-Luke in that regard. Will we ever get tired of hearing people burn Luke? As for Peter, he claims to have had a great experience on the show and says he would definitely be open to being on The Bachelor in the future. And Peter isn't the only person we saw this season who is still looking for romance. Although she provided support to her pal Hannah, Demi Lovato wasn't shy about her attraction to contestant Mike Johnson, and Hannah isn't opposed to playing matchmaker, saying she would gladly give Demi her blessing if that's something she wants to pursue. It's definitely something ABC VP of Reality and Alternative Programming Rob Mills wouldn't mind seeing. He was ecstatic about Demi's passion for the show and said she's a singer-songwriter who is actually there for the right reasons, so she could show Jed many things really. Okay, hearing Jed get burned isn't getting old either. Neither is seeing Mike and Demi flirt with one another on social media. Even though Hannah didn't end up finding a husband on The Bachelorette, that doesn't mean she's going home empty-handed. Yes, The Bachelorette gets paid for her time on the show, but what kind of money are we talking about here? According to show expert Amy Kaufman, it's incredibly rare for someone to make less than 6 figures. This means Hannah is likely getting at least a cool $100,000 payday for her time on the show. And that doesn't include the way her earning potential will have skyrocketed after leaving the show. She'll undoubtedly be fielding offers for endorsements and sponsored social media posts, which could easily earn her thousands of dollars per post. There are also some rumors about Hannah joining the cast of Dancing with the Stars. She certainly wouldn't be the first former reality TV star to make it onto the show. We've seen Bachelors Nick Viall, Chris Soules, Jake Pavelka, and Sean Lowe compete, but only one Bachelorette, Trista Sutter. Could Hannah be the second? It seems like Hannah is going to have plenty of opportunities thanks to her time on The Bachelorette. But of course we want to know, what about love? After all, Hannah went on the show to find her husband and left with a broken engagement to Jed. But let's not forget about her bond with Tyler Cameron, the runner-up of The Bachelorette. According to Hannah, while she did love Jed, she had also fallen for Tyler as well. She admits to being in love with 2 people and not feeling 100% confident in her decision. So what made her pick Jed? According to Hannah, she felt so intimidated by Tyler that she didn't start considering him as a serious option until late in the game. In comparison, Jed felt more familiar to Hannah, so she ended up making what she thought at the time was a safe choice. Yeah, we're guessing hindsight is 20/20 on that call. But could there be a chance for Hannah and Tyler? Both Hannah and Tyler claim to still have feelings for one another and remain committed to maintaining a friendship at the very least. But when Hannah asked Tyler out for drinks after the show, he did say yes. Even Jed says he wasn't surprised by the bond between Hannah and Tyler and says he just wants Hannah to be happy. Whether she ends up with Tyler or anyone else, we have a feeling the outspoken Hannah Brown is going to be just fine. Are you ready to move on from the adventures of Hannah, or are you left wanting more? Do you think Hannah would be a great contestant on Bachelor in Paradise? Let us know what you think in the comment section and then click on the subscribe button for more videos from us here at The Taco.